Yeah, I'm live. Just enabled the comments. It's a great day out here in the desert. Nice cool breeze. Had to get out of the Midwest because it was too cold, too much cloudy, too much rain, and the Bucks lost. I don't really want to think about that. So anyway, no more basketball until next year, for me at least. So today I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I'm gonna break down some of these business lessons, some of these money lessons. I'm just gonna go over a bunch of random things, leave the comments open, see if anybody wants to jump in, see if anybody wants me to elaborate on anything specific, wants me to cover anything I haven't covered yet. So yeah, I'm just gonna start getting into it, getting into these money lessons that I've learned over the years. Uh, some of these things I've learned myself, so I can teach to someone else. Breaking down the first one, the most important one, I believe, is speed of implementation. So with anything you do, anything you plan to do, anything you learn in life, it's like there's going to be an amount of time between the time that you actually learn it and the time that you implement it. So let's say that you learn how to ride a bike. The first thing you got to do is really you could just jump on the bike and start riding, but you'd probably want to maybe at least watch somebody else ride a bike first, just kind of get the general idea in your mind of how it works. So basically, you've got the time that you decide you want to ride a bike, the time that you kind of just observe other people riding bikes, to the time that you actually jump on that bike. So the quicker that you actually go from learning the information to implementing it, jumping on that bike, the better. And that's the main thing in business and money and everything else. So to improve your health, improve your wealth, just keep on listening. Next one I'm going to go into is the foundation of whatever you're doing is very important. This is where you can set up the conditions and the structures. So in everything you do, you know, any idea you have to increase, whether it's money or whatever it else is in life, and remember that money is usually just a kind of a condition to lead to something else. So yeah, you want to make sure that whenever you're starting something, whenever you begin a quest, that you take time to set up really like rules and structures with the foundation. Like this is the best time to do it, because if you don't do it at the beginning, you're going to be going back most likely. So, gonna keep going. This is a pretty big one that I learned. So the path to success, the path to accomplishment, the path to money, the path to whatever it is that you're looking to do in life is usually not so obvious. Is usually not so as you see on TV, or as you see in normal society advertisements. The system, the Western culture, whatever culture you're from, if it's materialistic, uh, yeah, it's really the path to success is counterintuitive in most cases to what you would see. So like in most cases people would think like just go to their job, work hard every day, and then everything's going to come to you, pay your taxes, all that kind of stuff. That's how it's going to work. Well, no, really, it's pretty much the counterintuitive to that. It's like most successful people usually enjoy what they do the most. It's not work to them. They don't feel like they're working so hard. They're really enjoying their life. They feel good most of the time. They don't feel stressed out. So yeah, it's really counterintuitive for most people until you start to get going with the money flow. So I would have to say another big lesson that led to a lot more blessings was to focus on one thing at a time and outsource the rest. This kind of goes into try to avoid multitasking if you're working on anything important. Keep the most important thing first. Try to, when you're working on that, only think about that. Just keep 100% focus on that. Yeah, that's just like one thing at a time. And then over time, you can, as you start to bring in more money from whatever you're working on, you can use that to outsource other things that you're not really 100% passionate about, 100% good at. So you can only work on the most important thing. Another next lesson, next topic. And always, as always, feel free to go and type in any questions. Join the conversation however you like. Gonna finish this up and then go ride my bike. So, okay, here's a good one. Value and profit are different than money. So, like, most people are focused on money. I've talked about this before, but really, what you really want to focus on is value, providing value to people. Not like how can you make money, but how can you provide value? Not how can you get money or get something out of people, but how can you provide value? So don't look at like how much profit can I make? What are my margins? I mean, these are all things that are important in business from a business perspective. But at the end of the day, your overall objective should be to provide value, not to make profit. Next topic: data-driven decisions are very important. Don't just go and make a decision because you think that that's what people want, because you think that that's what people want to hear. Business decision, because you think that something's going to make more money just off of intuition. There's times for that, but for the most part, what you want to be doing is collecting data on everything you do, split testing, and this even goes for everything, just like everything else. This can go to social situations, just when you're interacting with people, improving that network equals net worth type thinking. So yeah, really just try something, test it out, see what's working the best, model that, and then project that out with whatever you release, whatever you do, whatever you want to project, whether it's a business, whether it's yourself, whether it's somebody else. It doesn't really matter. It's all the same concept. You're welcome, Tristan Holverson. It's good to have the first person commenting. Anyone else, if they'd like to join in, go ahead. Any questions you got, go ahead. So, yeah, as I was saying before, I'd like to say this again. Try to avoid multitasking. Try to focus on one thing at a time. Can't express how important that is. Now, not only with just working on one thing at a time, but with work in general, I think it's very important to find a balance of work and relaxing. So even if your work feels it doesn't really feel like work, it's just good to really clear your mind from anything, so you're not constantly focused on one thing all the time. So take days where all you're doing is working, all you're doing is trying to accomplish something, all you're doing is just really like planning, plotting, or whatever. And then take days where whatever your main thing is, you're not even focused on that once, like 1%. Like all you're doing that one day is just focusing on something totally different. Whether you consider it work, whether you consider it vacation, just focus on something else. So yeah, here's another important thing when it comes to that. When you are working, do your best to put yourself in a situation where you can focus on ideally an hour and a half at a time, where you have no interruptions. The most peaceful environment you can be in, very conductive to focusing. So, breaking it down to the next topic, think about what can you implement in your quest, in your business, and whatever you're trying to do that can give you more structure. So like I was saying before, ideally you want to work in 90-minute, hour and a half chunks where you focus your time and then take a break. So if you can structure those 90-minute working times, then you get used to that, and it becomes really easy to the point where after you don't really even need to keep track of the time. Your body's just going to be used to it. So after an hour and a half, your focus will just divert to something else naturally, and you won't even need to really think about it. So kind of going to another line of topics right now with whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to build, you're going to have people that you want to work with, people that you want to associate with. So this is why it's important to, get an idea of what kind of people that you want to associate with. Build something that you would consider to be like an avatar, something that you would consider to be like an ideal picture of the people that you want to collaborate with. Just break it down as specific as you can, like uh, age, uh, profession, just the type of person, what they do, income level, uh, just as many different ways you can break it down. The more specific, the better. And then just have that ideal customer collaboration, whatever it is. Have that ideal thing already set. So, gonna go flow to the next topic. What you want to do is whatever your niche or category is you want to be the leader in it. You want to be the number one brand. I have another video you should check out. It's all about building a brand, why brands are important. This goes a lot more into this. Being the top brand. When you think about the top brands, when you think about the number two brands in the category, the number one is usually making like 100 times more than the number two. Usually like an 80-20 principle, like, the top 20% is making 80% of the income on anything, any category, any niche. So you can really become the leader in your niche by improving your skill in business and by improving your skill in communication and combining those two together. This really helps when you have an ideal type of customer or person to collaborate with, because then you can really learn better on how they operate, how they think. And these type of people are going to be coming to you more and more as you fine tune your process of whatever it is you're trying to do. And then over time, you will become more familiar with certain social situations, certain business situations, whatever it is. It's a good book to check out called Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. Probably didn't pronounce that right, but I'll spell it Neil, Rechkham, I believe. But yeah, it's called Spin Selling. All right. So I would have to say, when you're dealing with prospective customers, prospective collaborators, whatever it is, that they really want to feel like they're understood. So make sure that when you're working with them, that you have all the terms laid out. Whatever you're trying to accomplish, make sure you're on the same page from the start. Make sure that there's an open line of communication so that if anything comes up, any person feels as though they have the ability to bring it to the other person's attention. And just to elaborate on that, take some time to think about what you already know of the people you're trying to work with and how they could feel more understood. Like, what could you do from the start just to make sure that they feel like their needs are met? It's like a win-win situation with everybody. Kind of goes into negotiating. Can do more. That's a good idea. Do more videos, or do at least a video on negotiation. And if you're looking, to understand your customers or collaborators or better, the people that you're working with, the people that you're dealing with, think about what are their biggest fears and frustrations in life. What are the main things that they're embarrassed to admit about their own selves? The things that they generally wouldn't want to talk to other people about, but they consider areas in their life that they want to improve. Think about what kind of conversations that they're having in their own head. Like, what are the words that they're using? And by talking to them more and more about your niche and your topic, you're gonna start to uncover the actual terms that they're using word for word. And when you start to see a pattern with these word for word terms, make sure that you use them in your own communications and conversations, because it'll help a lot with connecting with these people. So Next topic is about copywriting. So when I first heard about copywriting, I thought it was like some kind of legal term where people say they put out a book or a movie or something like that, and they put a copyright on it, a business idea, something like that. But that's something different. That's more of like a legal term. What I'm really talking about is a certain style of writing that would be covered in marketing, to where it's really like the best way to communicate with people. And I don't really want to go into copywriting right now. I just want to bring it to your attention. But basically, yeah, I should do another whole video just on copywriting alone. But yeah, go and look up the basics of copywriting. It's like a whole style to it, from the way that it's written to the words that are used. So, gonna go into the next topic. Make sure that you show interest in the people that you are working with, whether it's like before customers, collaborators, whatever you do in life. Really try to show more interest in the other person, that you have interest in your own self when communicating. Just try to get to know people more than you're actually trying to provide information about yourself, and that usually leads to other people wanting to know more about you. It's better to provide value than to just take value. Going into that topic. So, gonna go into like last two points right here before I end it for the day. So the last two things I'm really trying to say, we're going to educate, and this is like really educating people. Is goes into providing value. Your marketing should be educating, not more educating, a lot more educating than it is like asking people to do something. So you want to educate really everybody in your circle on what's going on. How you develop things, what you're planning on doing, stuff like that. Keep everybody in the loop as much as possible, especially when you're doing a business, when you have customers. It's really important to provide people with as much information as possible on what your business is doing. Keep the business as transparent as possible. Even if it seems like you're kind of going overboard with the amount of information that you're providing to people, it's still a very good idea. I feel like the future of marketing is really going to be shifting from businesses putting out something as far as marketing goes that is like distant from their actual business, to businesses really just opening up the doors to their business and showing people their daily operations and how their business works, so that customers and prospective customers feel more like they're at home. And this goes into also branding, building brands as well. All right, so gonna break it down to the last topic. If anyone has any more comments, you can shoot it out like a rocket, type it up, rhyme it up. So the last thing I would have to say for today is more like a thought to leave you with. And I think this is a very important thing that when I heard it, I had to really like meditate on it for a minute and just really kind of open my eyes to this possibility. And this is a great thing because you don't even need money to do this. Like, this is something that you can do to bring in money, to bring in whatever it is you want to bring in. And all you have to do is just take action and thought and action, really. So think about like, how can you give away, start small. Like, how can you give away, say, like $10 worth of value, whether it's knowledge, whatever it is, however you can provide something. Think what you can provide that would be free to you, that someone else would consider that like $10, right? So how can you do that for 1 million people? So think about it. Like, obviously this is not something that you'd be able to do unless you were somewhere where you had access to 1 million physical people in person. So most likely you would want to use the internet or some type of technology to figure out a way to reach out to 1 million people quicker. So yeah, like what can you do? Can you write like a short book and provide it for free online? Can you, I mean, just give your advice on some kind of like topic that you can find a way to like put it in a guest blog, whatever. There's so many different ways. You just have to like really think about how you can do this. But yeah, how can you give away $10 to 1 million different people of free value? And this is really going to be the start, like the start of once you do that, just don't even expect anything in return, but you'll see that like the value will come back to you or your business or whatever it is you're trying to build. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for the day. Unless anybody else has something to say, you can go and write it ahead in the comments. The section's open right now because I'm live right now. And yeah, that's about it. Just went through everything I had to go through. Kept the time true to about the 20-minute mark. So before I spark the next bike ride and I try to cruise through the breeze, I'll wait about 10 seconds for any more comments that I see. And if I don't, no worries. It'll be until the next time I go live. If you have anything, go ahead, leave it in the comments on the video. If you like what you heard, go ahead, hit the like. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Keeping it steady with the YouTube videos. Until next time, I'm out.